She can see through the mist. She saw the monsters before I did.
So you told her the truth?
She recognized me from Hoover Dam, so...
You've met her before?
Last winter. But seriously, I barely know her.
She's kinda cute.
I never thought about it. Annabeth kept walking towards York Avenue. I'll deal with the school, I promised, anxious to change the subject. Honest, it'll be fine. Annabeth wouldn't even look at me.
I guess our afternoon is off. We should get out of here now that the police will be searching for you.
Behind us, smoke billowed up from Goad High School. In the dark column of ashes, I thought I could almost see a face, a she-demon with red eyes laughing at me. Your pretty little camp in flames, Kelly had said. Your friends made slaves in the Lord of Time. You're right, I told Annabeth, my heart sinking. We have to get to Camp Half-Blood. Now. Chapter 2. The Underworld sends me a prank call. Nothing caps off the morning like a long taxi ride with an angry girl. I tried to talk to Annabeth, but she was acting like I'd just punched her grandmother. All I managed to get out of her was that she had a monster-infested spring in San Francisco. She'd come back to camp twice since Christmas, but wouldn't tell me why, which kind of ticked me off, because she hadn't even told me that she was in New York, and she'd learned nothing about the whereabouts of Nico D'Angelo. Long story. Any word on Luke? I asked. She shook her head. I knew this was a touchy subject for her. Annabeth had always admired Luke, the former head of counselor for Hermes, who had betrayed us and joined the evil Titan Lord Kronos. She wouldn't admit it, but I knew she still liked him. When we'd fought Luke on Mount Templus last winter, he'd somehow survived a 50-foot fall off a cliff. Now, as far as I knew, he was still sailing around on his demon-infested cruise ship, while his chopped-up Lord Kronos reformed, bit by bit, in a golden sarcophagus, biding his time until he had enough power to challenge the Olympian gods. In demigod speak, we call this a problem.
Mount Tam is still overrun with monsters, Annabeth said. I didn't dare get too close, but I don't think Luke is up there. I think I would know if he was.
That didn't make me feel any better. What about Grover?
He's at camp, she said. We'll see him today.
Did he have any luck? I mean, with the search for Pan? Annabeth fingered her bead necklace, the way she does when she's worried.
You'll see,
she said, but she didn't explain. As we headed through Brooklyn, I used Annabeth's phone to call my mom. Half-Bloods try not to use cell phones if we can avoid it, because broadcasting our voices is like sending a flare to the monsters saying, "Here I am! Please eat me now!" But I figured this call was important. I left a message on our home voicemail trying to explain what had happened at Goad, but I probably didn't do a very good job. I told my mom I was fine, so hopefully she wouldn't worry, but I told her I was going to stay at camp until things cooled down. I asked her to tell Paul Blofus I was sorry. We rode in silence after that. The city melted away until we were off the expressway and rolling through the countryside of northern Long Island, past orchards and wineries and fresh produce stands. I stared at the phone number Rachel Elizabeth Dare had scrawled on my hand. I knew it was crazy, but I was tempted to call her. Maybe she could help me understand what the imposts had been talking about. The camp burning, my friends imprisoned, and why had Kelly exploded into flames? I knew monsters never truly died. Eventually, maybe weeks or months or years from now, Kelly would reform out of the primordial nastiness seething in the underworld. But still, monsters didn't usually let themselves get destroyed so easily. If she was destroyed. The taxi exited Route 25A. We headed through the woods along the north shore until a low ridge of hills appeared on our left. Annabeth told the driver to pull on the Farm Road 3.141 at the base of Half-Blood Hill. The driver frowned. "There ain't nothing out here, miss. Sure you want out?"
"Yes, please."
Annabeth handed him a roll of mortal cash, and the driver decided not to argue. Annabeth and I hiked to the crest of the hill. The young guardian dragon was dozing, coiled around the pine tree, but he lifted his coppery head as we approached, and let Annabeth scratch under his chin. Steam hissed out of his nostrils like a tea kettle, and then he went cross-eyed with pleasure.
"Hi, Tullis," Annabeth said. "Keeping everything safe?"
The last time I'd seen the dragon, he'd been 6 feet long. Now he was at least twice that, and as thick around as the tree itself. Above his head, on the lowest branch of the pine tree, the golden fleece shimmered, its magic protecting the camp's borders from the invasions. The dragon seemed relaxed, like everything was okay. Below us, Camp Half-Blood looked peaceful. Green fields, forests, shiny white Greek buildings, the 4-story farmhouse that we called the Big House. It all sat prominently in the midst of the strawberry fields. To the north, past the beach, the Long Island Sound glittered in the sunlight.